Welcome to Book Crew. We are on KCCC 9:30 a.m. in Carlsbad, New Mexico on Mondays at noon. We're available on YouTube and Rumble under the Task Force Geek banner. And by the time you hear this, we'll be on every major podcast aggregator out there. I'm going to be working on that this week. I am writer and marketing Jedi Dirk Hooper, and I'm joined as always by author and editor Beth A. Freely. How are you doing, Beth? I know how you're doing.
Good, Dirk. Yeah, it's been a crazy week. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay, we don't have to go into that, but holy cat, we've both had a heck of a week here dealing with life's random adversities and stuff. But hey, let's talk about books instead. I have two things to say. I don't know if Beth has any announcements. My first one, I'm going to go through as quick as possible. The first one is that I desperately needed some place where you could see all of my stuff, so I created all my links.
Nice.
Page. And so it's just allmylinks.com/Dirk Hooper writing, and that will take care of that issue. The second thing I wanted to mention is that one of the adversities that I've had is not having some air conditioning over the past 10 days. And what that did is that forced me, because I got to work, it forced me to go and check out my local library.
Nice.
Yeah, about let's say 6 months ago, they created a brand new, spanking new library, right? That's about literally a block. I could walk over there. I don't because I'm lazy, but it's like a block away from me, you know? It is, and it's, it's not huge, but it is technologically advanced and beautiful. It's just this amazing little library over there, and
that's awesome.
I thought, they're going to have some some air conditioning over there, so I got to go over there. Well, one of the things that they allow you to do is to rent a study room.
Oh,
and so I rented a study room in there. Once you close the door in that thing, it was not completely, but almost completely soundproof. So all of the noise that's in the library, it's just gone. And you're sitting in this nice little, it was a big table with 4 chairs, and it has a television screen where you can do presentations and a big marker board that you could use. It was just me in there, but I'd spread out all my stuff on the desk, and I worked on my next novel, which I really haven't talked about it yet, and I guess I may talk a little bit about it with you and our guest today. But it was really wonderful, and I'd like to say that I have to imagine that even if your library isn't brand new, that it probably offers some of those sort of things. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Also, I might add, obviously, that they will allow you to check out books there. Like I requested a book by Orson Scott Card about writing science fiction and fantasy novels that people mention all the time, but it's not really easy to find. But my library had it, so you can get great reference stuff, even stuff that's not available any longer. And finally, they have a large, meeting room there, not like a study room, but a large meeting room.
Yeah.
And you could have a seminar there for free. They don't charge you for it. Or you could do like a book signing or something. Right?
The library here
like
the library here in Artesia, they once a week their meeting room is checked out by the local D&D group.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, that would be perfect for that. Yeah, for sure. I never would have thought of doing that. And the old libraries that I grew up with didn't have meeting rooms like this. Mm-mm. It was just a large, open air facility. But if it's a little newer, it may have a multimedia meeting room available for you. So anyway, I just wanted to encourage you to maybe not wait until your air conditioning goes out, but to go visit your local library. There may be some, as an author, there may be some resources over there for. Look,
for sure.
My air conditioning is working fine today. Thank the maker. But I still will go over there because I got a lot of work done in those little study rooms because it was such a, it was an isolated area and I could spread everything out, and it forced me to get off of my computer and off my phone and really to dial in. I got a lot of good character development and took some notes and stuff. It was very productive for me. So
awesome.
I will go over there again.
Nice. I like that.
Beth, do you have any announcements to make? If not, we'll get on with our guest.
So for those of you who have been patiently waiting, Love of a Samurai will be out on ebook June 24th.
June 24th. That's June quick. 24th.
Yeah.
That's quick. As it's the 21st when we're recording this, although this won't run for a couple of months.
Yeah. Well, I did all of the plot development and everything as I was writing it. I tightened it all up before I started sending chapters to basically the editor. The person who edited it for me was Angel Nix. I told her, I said, look, it doesn't need developmental editing. I said, I've covered all of that already. I said, I just need somebody to go through this and make sure I have my names all right, that I'm not screwing up my seasons through the book. One chapter it's, fall, and then suddenly it's, summer again, and the whole 9 yards. And she's gone through it. Some of the comments have been hysterical. And everything, but she really loved it. She loved the book. She's already shown me the review that she wrote for it, which by the time this is aired, the review will probably be live. And so far, the reaction that I've gotten from people who have read it, they've absolutely loved it. And shout out to Steve Shank for the phenomenal bomb.com map that he hand drew.
That's awesome
for this book. I cannot thank him enough for that. So real collaborative effort here. Dirk did my cover, Steve did my map. So yeah, super awesome.
We need to have an episode. This is just an aside note. We need to have an episode where we just talk about that book sometime, maybe.
Oh yeah, we will. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get to our
Birdy on
interview.
Here.
Please, yes. Birdy Rivers, or Brit Leigh, was born and raised in New Jersey and currently resides in Georgia with 3 daughters and her, also known as her baby dragons. Birdy Brit had been writing since her teens as a way to cope with mental illness. Over the years, Birdy Brit decided to pursue her dreams of being a published author with a dozen books wide and even more on reading apps. That's so impressive to me. Maybe someday. All right. So let's get to it. Here is Birdy/Brit.
Hello.
There she is. Guys?
Yay.
Good. Yay.
Birdy, tell her. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask her how she was doing.
I'm good. Outside in the good old fashioned Georgia Southern heat, soaking up some humidity and sort of sun. But yeah, I'm doing good.
Good.
Birdy, tell us how you got into writing novels.
So I definitely started writing as a way to cope with my mental illnesses and things that were going on in my life. Back in high school, if you had asked me, I was all about becoming a journalist. But then I changed, decided I didn't want to be told what I had to write for an article. I wanted to, and of course this was before, people had blogs and all of that stuff. So back before you had to actually go and get a degree in journalism and all of that stuff, you couldn't just freelance it. Like you can today. And I was like, I don't really want to be told. I wanted more creativity. So I decided to just kind of develop it on the side and decided to go for, first it was culinary arts, and I got accepted into a really good culinary school too. And then at the very last minute, I was like, wait a minute, I want this to be more of a hobby. And I actually went into the medical field. And so I've been a medical assistant on and off for a collective, I want to say 6 or 7 years. No, more like probably 7, 8 at this point. Collectively, I've taken some time off here and there, especially when I had my daughters. I definitely needed some time off. So I think it was back in 2016, I want to say, that I wrote and completed my first trilogy. I had put it on Kindle and all of that, and did that for a couple years, trying to like figure out indie publishing because at the time it was still so new. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking like what, 9, 10 years ago when KDP was just this little itty bitty baby thing, and so just
Yeah.
trying to figure out the self-publishing world, as were so many other authors at the time, trying to figure out how to do this indie thing. And then, real life happens, and I took a couple of years off, especially with my twins. They were born at 29 weeks. They were in the NICU. They just needed my full-blown
Yeah.
attention to care for them. And then when they were around two, because I had been writing the whole entire time, never stopped writing. I just wasn't publishing anymore, or at that time. And then in about 21, I decided I was going to start publishing again, and I published the first two books of Children of the Empire, which is supposed to be a trilogy. Um I call them my learning books. I think every indie author has learning books when it comes to KDP and editing and formatting and
Still
all the things that
learning.
goes
Yeah, still
right.
learning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. I can't say I've learned it all. Still learning. And it's a lot. I don't think people always realize what goes um into
Right.
our books. Um, and so I call them my learning books, which they were, and so was I have a couple of those, but those are the two that always like mainly come to mind. And then since then, I've been consistently publishing. I've put out three different retellings of The Voice of the Sea, which is Little Mermaid retelling, which is like Ursula as an anti-hero with descendants. There's siren and mermaid mythology in it. There's even Roman mythology because I'm half Italian, so I had to throw my heritage in there somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
I loved that. I did a little Red Riding Hood retelling. That's definitely on the darker side. So definitely read trigger warnings before you pick up that one. Um, and then I did a duet for my Aladdin retelling. I call it my Wishes duet. The first book is 1001 Wishes, which is basically Genie's prequel, his family history, how he gets in the bottle,
Oh,
and just
nice.
establishing things prior to him meeting Al, which is book two called Unfathomable Wishes, and it's Al is actually a female, so we kind of did a little gender swap there. Um, those were a lot of fun. I put those out. Then I have two main series. I have my Coven series, The Coven of the Chrome Shadows. There's 4 books, completed series. I wrote that in a year. Hooray, hyperfixation and hyperfocus. Is all I gotta say.
No, none of
Wrote
us
all
have ever
those.
done that. No.
So right, people are like, "How do you put out so many books?" And I'm like, I just have the ability to focus and hone it in. Doesn't always work, but 9 times out of 10, it gets me there. So the Coven of the Chrome Shadows has a little bit of Greek mythology tossed into it. It features a coven that serves the god of death, and the warlocks of the coven have shifters as their familiars. So you get to see lycans and werewolves, which are two different races in this book. I know
Yep.
sometimes they're interchangeable, but in this book, they are two separate species. And you'll see phoenix shifters, gargoyle shifters. I'm going to be bringing in like a snake shifter with a little bit of Medusa hit into it for the spinoff that I'm working on, which is basically going to be the grandchildren. So you get book one, which is all about Arya and Zayn and their story, and then the next books after that are their children. All can be read individual; they're individual standalones. But I always tell people to read it if you want all 4 books, if you really want to gain the world development. But I do, in book two, I tossed in a little bit of a Phantom of the Opera retelling. So some people just kind of want to read the Phantom retelling part and not the rest. Although everybody who picks up book two is like, I need to go read the whole series anyway. Um, so
Yeah.
it's a really great series. There's demigods, there's all kinds of shifters and species, destiny quests, all of that great fun stuff that we like in paranormal romances. It does have a dystopian feel. It is technically a dystopian. I just don't market it that way.
Cool.
But if you read the books, you will realize it's actually a dystopian. Um, and then I have my completed trilogy for my Heroes and Villains series, which did take me a really long time. It took me a long time to develop the idea for it. It was one of those scrap rewrite, scrap, rewrite processes over the years to
Mhm.
get it to where I wanted it. And it turned into exactly what I wanted, which was a superhero romance. I wanted to take my love of comic books and my love of romance and put them together. And I
There you
did.
go.
So
Yep.
I have this really awesome superhero sci-fi romance. There's an alien planet. There's what I call biometas. So they have alien DNA and human DNA. They're the ones with the superpowers. They create the League of Metas. There's heroes, there's villains. Anti-heroes are a super strong, every book has an anti-hero, if not more than one anti-hero. Because anti-heroes are honestly the fun. They're the best of both worlds, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Because you get a little bit of the hero side, but you also get a little bit of the villain side. I think it's the perfect mix, in my opinion. So I have that series. It's a trilogy. There will be a spinoff for it as well, which is all in the works. And then we'll switch over to the Brit side of things, which is all my contemporary romance and my dark romance that does not feature anything paranormal or supernatural. It's like takes place in the real world. So the first book I ever published for that was my Through the Flames of Desire, a firefighter romance. It's got a lot of mental health rep in it. It's a very great book for an example of a healthy relationship and what it should be, because as much as I love my dark romance, I think it's also really good to have examples of a contemporary romance with
Mhm.
a happy ending with a positive
Yeah.
relationship that isn't necessarily a dark, doesn't have a dark male character or female character. They're just, two people in life. It's brother's best friend. He's a firefighter slash EMT. And it's very steamy, and I had a lot of fun writing it. It was a great way to put some of my mental health stuff that I've struggled with over the years into it. You will find a little bit of mental health and stuff in all of my books, from depression, anxiety, PTSD,
Mhm.
body dysmorphia, all of that good stuff is it featured in these books. I've dealt with self-harm, so there's self-harm, stuff like that. That is in Hunting My Wolf, which is my little Red Riding Hood retelling, which is why I tell people to read triggers for that one. Um, and then I just started releasing what I'm calling the Underworld Love Guide series. It's an interconnected standalone of criminal romances, from the mafia to
Oh.
hitmen to morally gray cowboys and morally gray street racers. And I'm having a lot of fun with that. Oh, there's also an MC that gets brought in as well. So I think I'm up to 7 books in this. It started off as a standalone. Okay, this is what happens. It started off as a standalone, went to a trilogy, went to 5 books, and now I'm looking at 7 books. We'll see if it continues to grow, Lord.
They just
So
grow. Yeah.
they really do. Sometimes they really just grow, and then I gotta love when the spin-offs happen, right? When it's like you've completed the main series, and then it's like the other characters are like, well, hey, I want this, and so that's how my spin-offs usually happen.
Birdy, let me ask
And
you a
so
question.
what? Go ahead.
But before the interview is over, let me ask you one more question.
Mhm.
How does writing help you cope with mental illness?
It helps me cope in the way that I'm allowed to vent whatever I'm feeling about it. So sometimes it's, a positive view of like, hey, this makes me a stronger person. And then other times it's that I need an outlet to express it in a healthy way so I don't go back to old habits, for example, like
Mhm.
self-harming. Because that is not a healthy coping mechanism. I can speak. Um, so it's a healthy coping mechanism for me to put feelings and um, all of the complex emotions that come with mental illness. I do have chemical depression as well as like situational depression. So I do I'm on medication, especially for the chemical part of it, because there's just that is incredibly hard to control without medication for me personally. Um, and I have PTSD from a series of traumas over the years, and that's a really long list. And I'm not going to get in that today on this show, but and you'll get to see some of them if you read my book. You'll kind of figure out where my trauma comes from. It's not too hard to pick up on. Um, and also like anxiety and things like body dysmorphia, things that I know, especially women deal with. I try to do that in my books too. I try to make it so that other people don't feel so alone in mental health or with whatever they might be struggling with, because you're not alone in it. And I think that's a really big, important message for people. And that's why I try to put those types of things into it. So my outlet, my healthy outlet becomes a way for me to help other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I got to talk about Realm Queens because Beth
Yes.
was also in that. Tell us,
all three of
tell
us.
us a little bit about your your story in Realm Queens.
So, for Realm Queens, I wanted to do something different, and I've always wanted to do a Selkie um, story, because I feel like it's an under-repped supernatural creature or paranormal creature, whatever you want to call it, mythological creature that is not really represented too much in paranormal books. And you constantly, and don't get me wrong, I will always be a werewolf lover. You'll never take that from me. But they're done a lot in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
So are vampires, even mermaids and stuff like that. They're just kind of the go-to dragons. Although I will say I've been seeing a lot of unicorn stuff lately, and that makes me happy because they seem to be under rep too. So I did, and of course, ever since Sarah J. Maas, everybody wants all the fairy smut. And so I wanted to do something different that hadn't really been done, that I hadn't done. So I wanted to do a Selkie story, which is what I did for Realm Queens. I did the story is the Salty Selkie and the Scorn Sailor, which are the titles of their motorcycle clubs, the Salty Selkies and the Scorn Sailors. And kind of really pulled in the classic Selkie mythology of why they go into or why human men would want to bait Selkie women to force them to bear their children. Sailors would often get their skins and hide them because the Selkie can't go back into the ocean without her skin. It's like the only thing that allows her to basically transform. And so without that, she cannot go into water. She cannot be a part of her people. And so the popular mythology is that sailors and people who lived on the banks would steal the Selkie skins, bury them, and force them to be their wives and bear children and all of that. And so I wanted to kind of play on that and kind of add like that rebellious part of it, and also show like that we're human, because humans are always painted as negative a lot of times in paranormal stories. They tend to be the villainous character. And so I kind of used that, but also turned it to where you learn that it's a misskewed information, which happens to a lot of people, that skewed information or what your parents tell you has to be truth. And then later on you find out it's not so true. So I used a lot of that. I had a lot of fun with the story and developing it, and it turned out to be I think, a really awesome short story.
So on Realm Queens, Beth also had a story in that, and I'm going to, instead of asking her to summarize what was in there, that series has kind of morphed into something else, which is that anthology title has morphed into a shared world series called Dark Chaos MC. And as it turns out, all three of us have a book coming out in that series. So, so this is the first time I've said anything about this. It's really not going to start until 2026.
Yeah, next year.
I just put out an article on it today. My book is due on January the 7th. So I'm actually the first person out of the gate, which I don't know how I got that, but
I don't know you got that one either.
Since the first book that I wrote took me about 7 years, and the second book I wrote took me about 5 years, it is pretty presumptuous for me to think that I can do a book in about 6 months, but we'll see if that happens or not. But
that's a good challenge.
I've had a lot of inspiration from authors on this show who write a book a month, seriously, just writing stuff. And Beth, in particular, who seems to, I think she writes a book every 4 weeks. You know,
That's what my average has been lately. I think I have finally found my groove with it.
but
So yeah.
but Beth, and I don't
Yeah,
necessarily
I'm
want to
about
take
every
time away
two
from
months.
Birdie. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
You know,
I'm about every 2 months, I think. I have, so in my Underworld Love Guide series, book one is out, The Mafia Love Code, and then book two, The Mafia Love Arrangement, is out July 1st. And then I have like them scheduled basically every 2 months to come out. And so far, book one is doing wonderful. I'm loving all of the responses that I'm getting from it, and all the sales that I'm getting has been really awesome. TikTok has been my friend lately. I'm not going to complain. No author complains when the algorithm gods decide to show us some grace and give us a good amount of views.
Yeah.
So, because I'm always like, have these people are like, oh, I went viral, I blew up everywhere, and I'm like, how? Like, what did you do? And half the time, it's just, I think it's pure luck or coincidence, or
I
they,
think it's luck.
I think it is too. And so my
Yeah.
best friend and I, she writes books too, and she publishes, and we always make the joke of, is our sacrifice good enough to the algorithm gods? Will they accept it, and will they give us the views we desire? So it's definitely, I'm working pretty hardcore on that, because it is like every 2 months that I have a release. I
Brett,
have
let
like a
me ask
chest
you.
that I keep in mind. Mhm.
Right.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you about your website. You have your website is
Mhm.
set up just basically like a store. When you go to it, you have your books set up there and encourage readers to buy from you.
Yes.
Right there on that site. Can you talk a
Yeah.
little bit about your site, how you set it up, and
Sure.
how it's doing, please?
So I've been wanting to do a website for a really long time. I feel like for years I've heard, you have to have an author website. You just have to have one. It's the thing to have.
Mhm.
And it does cost. I mean, I have, so my lovely cover designer is also my formatter. Sometimes she's my editor if my other editor isn't available, and she's also the one who helped me design my website and set it all up, because despite the fact that I am a millennial, I do not know all things technology. Okay, don't fall into that lie. Millennials don't know everything when it comes to technology. I'm an older millennial. Okay, I'm an '89 baby, so you're talking like I can do basic computer skills. Don't ask me to do much more. Um, so everyone's like, but you're a millennial. Shouldn't you know your technology? No.
No,
I came
no,
out
yeah.
when, like, it doesn't work that way. Go away. Um,
Millennials either A, know everything about computers, or B, don't know squat.
yes,
No, there's
we
no
know
difference.
you
One
either
or
know
the
the
other.
basics or you know everything. There is a
Or you
huge
know
difference, and
everything. Yep.
it's usually older millennials know the basics, and the younger millennials closer to Gen Z tend to be more advanced with their technology knowledge. Um, so I had her help me set up the website, and I eventually did figure out how to do it, like, update things and add products and all of that. But it was a learning process. I will not lie. Um, so I have it set up so Birdie Rivers has her whole entire section for books, products, and merch, because I do have like, so for heroes and villains and Coven, I have character artwork that actually her son has done for me. He has like an anime cartoon style that I just really like
Mhm.
for character art. I know, like, I do like realistic character art, but at the same time, I don't know. I do and I don't. It has to be the right realistic character art, I guess,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
my take. Like, sometimes I look at realistic character art and I'm like, eh? And then sometimes I look at it, I'm like, wow, that's fantastic. So I think it really depends on the artist who's doing it,
It does.
and
It
what
does.
kind of style you personally are. Um, so I have some character art for Ari and Zane, and for Clara and Colin, who are the first two couples essentially of the books. You'll find I like to do things generational. So, it's usually like the parents, the kids, the grandparents, something like, or grandkids. It's usually a generational type
Mhm.
thing that I like to go for. So I have the first couples done. I will be getting everyone else done too. It's just, a matter of time and money. Um, So I have them, and so all of that, all goes under Birdy, and I have stickers and stuff for the series. So like the heroes and villains and Coven each have their own stickers. My fairy tale retellings have their own stickers. I'll eventually get stuff for my Brit Leigh side of things. I just haven't gotten that far yet in what stickers I want for them. Because I like plan out them and then I go to the lady who does them. She's also an indie author, but she also produces like overlays and stickers and business cards and stuff for other authors. So I like to give her the business because she's, a small business and it's super important.
Like, she's like the rest of us. I mean, that's
why, it's really important.
Yeah. That's why I try and use.
Yeah, I think a lot of authors. Yeah, we have a lot of different side things that we do. Like I offer editing services and things like that. Developmental, if you need help developing your story, I do that because I'm gonna chew my own horn for a minute, but I'm really good at world building. I've been told this by so many people that now I actually believe it and don't have imposter syndrome over it. Overcoming imposter syndrome, it still creeps up just in different ways, and even like I said, you overcome one part of the imposter syndrome, but then you find another imposter syndrome that creeps up on you. Yeah. So, I'm very good at world building. I'm very good at developing. If you read the Coven series or even the Heroes and Villains series are perfect world building examples. And so I do all that. And I think a lot of us offer side stuff like that as ways to, get some extra hustle on the side, because why not?
I'm down to about 4 minutes before we're done. So I just want to quickly ask, how is the website performing for you? And then and briefly, what do you got coming up next?
So the website's doing decently. It's definitely one of those, I feel like, there's things that you get told as an author that like, oh, if you do this, you're automatically going to get a response or a, for some reason I'm losing my train of words here, but it's an instantaneous thing. If you get this website, you're instantly going to have a whole bunch of sales come through on your website.
Right.
Maybe that's true for some authors. But for me, I'm finding it is a slow build. It's a slow up the mountain, but it's worth it. I know that when I do RAW next weekend, I will say this, RAW will be the first big event that I've done with a website. So I'm curious to see what that produces for the website, just because last year when I had it, I think it came out, I started in September. So that's the other thing. It hasn't even been out a full year yet either. So I had smaller signings where, I only maybe got 1 or 2 people from it, but they were smaller. So this is a huge event with like 500 plus tickets sold. So I'm very curious to see what a big signing can do for the website and just in general. In gaining readers and sales, a lot of times people may not buy your book there, but they may buy it later, or they'll go back and get an ebook. I've had that happen plenty of times. So I'm curious to see what that's going to do for the website and just stuff in general. And then as for what I got,
we got to wrap it up. So
I was going to say I was going to go into what's coming next. So next would be the Mafia Love Arrangement. That's out July 1st. After that, it's the Hitman's Love Guide, and that is out September. That is, I will say that's a really dark one, and there's probably going to be some trigger warnings on that. And then my last book for the year will be the Mafia Love Proposal. So those are all books in the Underworld Love Guide series. And then the other ones will be out next year, along with some other Birdy books. The only Birdy release I have this year is the Realm Queens, and then I will be putting the Salty Sulky and the Scorn Sailor out in August, kind of on its own. And I have like this actual MC symbols being drawn up, so I'm super excited for those to be completed and be able to put them, into the book and on probably the cover or whatever ends up happening. And that's kind of really all I got for this year. I will say I have some signings coming up. I want to put that out there real quick. Next week, RAR in Columbus, Georgia. After that, in August, I'm doing Shelf Love, which is a brand new romance store that opened up in Atlanta. And then my last signing for the year is going to be in November in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. So I'll be hopping over state for a state line for a signing for the first time ever. Super excited. I've never gone out of Georgia to do a signing before, so I'm very excited to hop over to Tennessee and go to the Smoky Mountains. That's the Fantasy Forge Con. It's supposed to be really big and a lot of fun. So if you're in that Tennessee area, come and see us. There's a whole bunch of authors, great events. There's supposed to be a fantasy ball afterwards, guys. So I'm looking forward to a fantasy ball because who doesn't want to get dressed up in a pretty dress and elf ears and a crown? I do. So super looking forward to that. So those are the signings I have for this year. All books are always available on my website. They come with swag and lots of goodies. Shipping is included in the price, so you don't have to worry about adding extra nonsense to it. The price you see is the price you're going to pay. And I think that's really all I got for coming up.
Tell us where to find you.
So I have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, my website, Threads, I think are all the ones that I'm mainly on. I have a readers group on Facebook that you are welcome to join. I have tons of authors that hop in there and post all their goodies. You'll get sneak peeks of things if you're in there. I usually post like the character art and stuff there first and the covers and stuff first in there before I post them on the rest of the social media. So those are all the places, like I said, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Facebook group, as well as Threads. And then there's always my website that you can always email the birdyrivers15@gmail.com if you have special requests or concerns, whatever. That is my email that you guys can reach out to.
All right. This is broadcast on YouTube and Rumble, but it will predominantly be on the KCCC site and on podcast. So I have to spell out that if you're interested in seeing her website, it is romancebooks.com. So that would be the place that I would encourage you to go. And everywhere else, it looks like you should probably be looking up either Birdy Rivers or Brit Leigh.
Yeah, so I'll say everything is going to be under Birdy Rivers, mainly because that was my established pen name, and it's just easier to kind of add and tag the Brit Leigh stuff onto that. So everything, if you want to search me on like Facebook or any social media, just do Birdy Rivers because all the Brit Leigh stuff is going to be tagged into that. I kind of do like a dual thing for both pen names, but since Birdy was established first, it's easiest to find me under Birdy.
Awesome.
All right, Beth, tell us where we can find you.
You can find me at the usual haunts: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all under B.A. Freely, Freely. And if you can't remember that, just go look for B.A. Freely on Linktree, and all of my stuff is there.
Yep, I have a Linktree too that you guys can go with Birdy Rivers Linktree that will have all the social media, websites, and all of that you all can follow as well.
We'll have all that in the show notes everywhere we post this.
Yep. Awesome.
You can also find me at writeworks.dirkhooper.com. I just put out a new article on that. I just created an All My Links account at Dirk Hooper Writing. You can find my pen name at asherlake.net. I also am at themusesfunhouse.com. On X, you can find me at Dirk Hooper Plus. That's Plus. And on Facebook.com, I am Dirk.Hooper. Before I go, I want to say that Beth A. Freely is offering editing and book trailer services, and I'm offering author branding and social media management at themusesfunhouse.com. And I'd like to invite everyone to join and participate on our new Book Crew Facebook group. You can get updates about the show, insight from working authors, including Beth and me, and post about your own book projects. It's facebook.com/group/Book Crew Podcast. Join and tell your author friends. Thanks to our guest, Birdy Rivers, also known as Brit Leigh.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Birdy.
For Beth A. Freely, I am Dirk Hooper saying dream hard.